Hey, welcome to NASA Edge.
An inside and outside look
at all things NASA.
Oh, that's gonna leave a mark.
All right, we have 16 podcasts to do for 2011. I'm just looking through the notes. We definitely have to do STS-134 doing the live show.
With Drew Feistel.
Out of the gate in February. Lunabotics we're going to do again. You know, we did 4 NEAT segments in 2010.
But it's not quantity, it's quality. They're all good, as usual.
Well, I mean, all of 2010 was pretty good.
Okay, fair enough, good point.
Yeah.
But the NEATs were pretty cool. I mean, I love the NEATs. In fact, Franklin, if I were to steal your food and hold it hostage, I mean, which would you say is the best NEAT that we did this year?
Well, I'm glad you're not going to steal my food and hold me hostage. But I'm thinking back to R2, Robonaut, down at the Johnson Space Center. We had a good time. I was actually able to get in and check out, because I never saw actually the original Robonaut. So to get in there and kind of see the cooperation between GM and NASA coming together for R2, it was a good art in the act.
Is that when he tried to lift the 25-pound dumbbell and he couldn't do it?
Absolutely, yeah, you know.
I was faking because I didn't want to make Robonaut 2 look bad right before his big ISS trip, which could be happening even as we speak. So,
absolutely,
you know, just trying to be kind to R2.
My favorite was Fahrenheit 6000.
Oh, great segment.
And then you couldn't make it that trip, but of course the talk of the town was the cherry pastries.
Yeah, I heard a lot about those cherry pastries.
Those were the talk of the town because it has happened to be the best pastries I'd ever
eaten. They
eaten.
messed you up.
Well, I don't know if I'd go so far as to say they messed me up. They were pretty good, that's for sure. I mean, granted, you're supposed to be limited to what, 2,000, 3,000 calories? I just sort of narrowed those down to cherry pastry for the day.
We were so lucky that they actually didn't have the test because they had an issue, but because you would have fell asleep to the test fire.
Well, I heard you fell asleep during the press conference.
I was, as a power nap. I wouldn't call it falling asleep. That was strategic, so I could, prepare for more cherry pastries.
Chris, do we have any pictures?
I gotta find those. I mean, we have them somewhere. But
I was thinking. I wasn't sleeping. I was pondering. I was considering. I was thinking about where these cherry pastries came from. But the other thing that was cool about DM was we actually stood right below the nozzle of a 5-stage rocket. It was very amazing, sure, but also a little tense.
You're feeling kind of stiff right now. You okay?
You feeling all right?
Well,
just a bit. Yeah.
Who wouldn't be nervous when you're standing behind the nozzle of a XRB of massive proportion?
Are we safe right here? Are we okay?
I'm sure that we're safe, but I get a little nervous sometimes too.
I mean, I'm sitting here in what they call a flame retardant smock, which that's great because they can find the smock if I get torched. I mean, it'll be intact. I'll be crystals.
Which one of you will crack the marshmallow joke? I know somebody had to do it.
Is there any shot of maybe some s'mores or any cookout materials being used during the test?
We've always wanted to take a picture of this and put someone there roasting a hot dog next to it, but no, we don't have anybody that close.
No. He actually has volunteered. He is for the good of the cause.
Oh, we both did. Yeah, I actually I wanted to get back there and do a little quick roast.
Stand to the side.
I don't think that would work out too well.
No, not at all.
But all in all, we also had a couple others. We had NEAT Storm, and of course, we had NEAT Mercury Mission Control. So overall, a really good, solid year for NEAT.
Yeah, I couldn't make the storm. I had a little child issue during that time. Yeah.
And Ron, do we have a picture of the baby we can put up?
There it is.
The baby. Picture of the baby?
There's another one.
Okay, Adam.
Oh, here you go.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. Sorry, man.
So Jackie filled in. You guys took Jackie with to Storm, and also Robonaut too.
Didn't take Jackie to Storm. No, we actually used one of the new features for NASA Edge. Our field reporter, Amanda Huff.
See, I was in the hospital, taking care of a baby. I had no clue what was going on.
Adam is working on your mind already.
He sure is.
Which, by the way, Have you graduated from the latex gloves during changing the diapers?
You're gonna bring that up again. Come on, man.
And for the record, I don't use the gloves anymore, so that was old.
Yes, that's great. That's good news. You're growing.
That's old school. That was done after like 2 weeks. But the cool thing about that is that it did introduce that new field reporter concept for this year.
Absolutely.
Bringing in Sherry Olson from Dryden, and also
Yep.
Amanda Huff from Western Kentucky.
Yeah, he actually put Amanda on the spot. She came in as an intern, and he just said, "Well, why don't you give a 30-minute talk to the rest of the interns?" she was like, "Thanks."
She handled it.
Yeah. Oh, she did great.
She's the first law student here at Langley to ever give a presentation at their weekly seminar.
And it was a good one.
It was good, yeah. So
She knocked it out of the park.
We did.
What can you say?
we good.
Good deal.
Okay, so now that we've got the NEs pretty much lined up, what about regular shows, which is sort of our bread and butter?
Yeah.
It's the workhorse. It is the mainstay of NASA Edge. If you will.
Now, we were able to do 4 last year, I believe, right?
Yep.
We did
Well,
Hurricane
let's see,
Grip.
What's that? Oh, are you working backwards?
Yeah, backwards.
Okay, Hurricane Grip,
Hurricane
Extreme Analogs too.
Right.
Aeronautics.
And then the launch abort system.
Launch Abort. Oh, what a great show. I love the Launch Abort system show.
They have this huge mixer. They put all the materials in there.
Did they toss it like the pizza dough? And
No.
No, okay.
oh well, yeah, can't get them all right. Any bench clearing brawls come up on the engineering side? Any of that at work?
Yeah, I haven't been able to use those skills yet. I'm still working on that.
Technical. Here it comes. Yeah, and by the way, Heather, if you're out there watching the show, and I know you do, game on next time we meet. But it's just not
The
happening.
pockets were cool, because how often do you find yourself in this position with your hands in the pocket while you're walking around?
All the time.
You find your hands in the perfect position. How many hours a day are you in this position?
And this is
Yeah, walking around.
This is a part of safety. Keep your hands away from touching any of the hardware.
That was one of my favorites because Langley was so instrumental in working on that system. It was a good show.
We had Kevin Rivers on the set,
Yes.
which was great.
No, Doc Rivers.
Doc Rivers, yeah, that's right.
NBA reference.
As in Glenn.
Exactly. No, that was awesome.
You think he can help the heat out this year?
Kevin?
He's a doctor. I mean, come on.
You know what they need down in Miami is the attitude control motor.
Which was confusing for me. When I heard attitude control, I sort of had flashback to many disciplinary moments that I went through in my life. But what does that actually mean, the attitude control?
Well, attitude as in orientation.
Gotcha.
Not attitude as in,
Bad attitude.
Bad attitude.
Attitude.
A little ACM.
A little ACM needs some new technology to manage the egos, you know?
Are we talking about NASA or sports?
It's like building a football team, you know. You got to get your best receivers coach. You got to get your best defensive coordinator. And you got to pull them all together, and that's how you come up with a good, winning, strong team.
Back to the ACM. The ACM, that is one of the coolest features. Of course, that was part of a live show too, PA1. But the development of that was really fascinating because you dealt with all these new technologies coming together for only one component, very important component of PA1. So that was awesome.
It was, and it marked a technology advancement for NASA moving forward. And that is something that would probably be able to be used outside of NASA in aerospace industry.
Was that your favorite show too?
LAX.
You know what's fun about that though, is when you go back and you watch that show and we're talking to Kevin Rivers about the ACM, at the time that show was recorded, we didn't know whether it would work or not. See, now after the fact, we saw it live at the PA1 show. We saw it in action, and it worked perfectly.
Launch.
Wow.
And it's just interesting to go back and think of all the hope and tension and anxiety over whether or not this thing was going to deliver, and then know that it actually did. So it's kind of fun to
It
go
could
back.
have been a huge disaster because remember we had like 35-mile-an-hour winds that morning.
Boy, conditions are tough.
They're very tough because it's very windy out here. We had the wind blowing directly in our face.
Yeah,
And we almost lost a monitor and a couple other pieces of equipment.
And that was just with NASA Edge.
That's right.
That's not even talking about what was going on at the pad. In fact, if you remember, it's interesting, at the pad, the weather was, how far were we away from the pad?
Was it 4 miles, I think?
Like 4 miles, and the weather was completely different from where we were set up to shoot the live show to where what was going on at the pad, making a whole lot of difference.
I thought my favorite show was Hurricane Grip because it was close to home. Talking about hurricanes on the Atlantic coast, we had Global Hawk flying all the way from Dryden all the way out to Hurricane Earl in the Atlantic and making the 8 runs, whatever it was, and flying back. I mean, it just hits home because hopefully they'll improve predictions of hurricanes down the road, which will hopefully save us.
Great. Yeah, certainly save us. I mean, not to be selfish.
Yeah, and that was also a show that one of our co-hosts, Jackie, our co-host, Jackie Cortez, was out there talking to the researchers about Global Hawk, and she made a pretty good contribution to the show.
And Sherry, one of our
field reporters.
That's
right. Now, as good as that show was, I was actually wrong. My favorite show is not the Launch Abort show. I like the Extreme Analogs Part 2 going down to Nemo. That was my favorite show. Partly because I spent a lot of time down there, which was a lot of fun.
You have tough making decisions, or is it just...
No, well, when they're so good, I mean, when you got 2 good options.
It was the Blair show.
Chris, I know you like to decompress after your aromatherapy sessions. This is a little bit more excessive than I had in mind, but buddy, you're going to have to give me some questions because I got to go interview some astronauts.
Wow, pretty good. Pretty good. A little cool and a little minty.
See, I look forward to that because you don't have to worry about driving on the wrong side of the road, even if you're from Scotland. I mean, you're pretty much on a different surface. It's wide open.
That's right, and for the record, we drive on the correct side of the road.
As I always tell people, it's a piece of metal with electricity going to it in salt water. It's just
recipe for disaster.
Exactly.
Like right now?
Right now.
You got time? Because I can do a lot of push-ups. You started?
Oh yeah. It's like 999.
All right, here we go. 1. Can we take a nap?
Is that all you got?
All week we're shooting that show and we're waiting to see if we can actually dive on the Aquarius, go down and actually shoot our own footage. But weather was so rough. Each day we'd go out, and hats off to the safety team down there and everything else. They actually were trying to make it possible for us to go out and actually dive, but weather conditions weren't satisfactory. As Bill Todd said, I approached him. I said, "Bill, are we going to go out?" And he said, "Well, we probably could go, but you got to really feel comfortable about it." And I said, "Would you go?" And he goes, "I wouldn't go out." It's like, okay, well that's fair enough. He's trying to accommodate us, but if he's not interested in making that trip, then neither am I.
Ron told me that it took him 5 times to get recertified.
What happened?
Kept on failing.
It's hard to scuba dive. You're supposed to wear a weight belt, not the floaties. And apparently they work against you when you're trying to do some scuba diving.
Where did you pick those up at Walmart?
It was a special, off season. It was great.
Good deal.
In fact, we were doing a Seinfeld scene. There was a scene where I wanted to go out.
That's right, you went out into the water.
Biologist,
Yeah,
and I actually, it was really funny because I'm out there with the floaties, and Ron is setting up the shot, and I go stand out there, and there are all these families, and they're on the beach, and they're like looking at me. They're like, the little kids are like, "Mom, why is that man wearing the floaties?" And I'm just marching all the way out to sea, and of course the water doesn't get deep down there, so I had to walk like 400 yards out to sea, and I just finally had to collapse, or I would have probably gotten to Cuba by the time I actually the water got too deep.
All right, guys, how many live shows are we doing this year?
I don't know, but I love the live shows.
I think it's the best new addition we added in 2010.
Yeah, in fact, Franklin used to talk about, we'd never make the live shows, we'd never last more than 5 minutes.
That's right. He said we'd be fired with that the first minute.
Yeah,
we've logged quite a few minutes.
Yeah, we did, because you guys freelance too much on the set.
I refuse to follow script.
Yeah, well, we're unscripted.
That's true.
But the playfulness on the set is just sometimes over the top.
And that they pass on their experience.
Hey, we're live here.
We're live, and someone just threaded the needle.
That's right.
Of course, there could be other things at work causing problems for your little demonstration.
What that could be.
Well, I happened to find that cow magnet, and I wanted to produce a little magnetosphere, so there you go.
And is this your first launch?
I would say no. Yeah.
The formulation's a little bit different to get a little bit different burn rate.
Like, what is the formula?
I cannot tell you. All right, well,
I gave it a shot.
Sure.
So you're almost like the goofy co-host of STS 134.
Okay.
But something about once the cameras go, I mean, it's all business. I mean, we're not going to get.
Because you're starting to think about your mortgage.
It's true. I think about my mortgage all the time.
I got to get the feet down.
Yeah, that's right. That's a big responsibility.
Like stay on track.
But also, we covered some really cool events on the live shows. I mean, there's some really fantastic stuff from Abort 1, Lunabotics, Sun Earth. They went back to the desert, although you were taking care of Adam. We were out in the desert.
And the A-Train supposed.
And they down in New Orleans, where for the record, no one was arrested. No one had to be paroled or anything like that. So that's good.
No, but we got some good meals.
We did.
That's true.
We always eat well.
These beignets are delicious. Now, why would somebody get arrested in New Orleans?
I almost got arrested by the party police.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I thought they were real cops, and they came up to me and says, "We're going to take you downtown." I freaked out, and they were like, "You need a drink."
But the great thing about the live shows is that we can really get that two-way interaction between our fans, especially at Lunabotics, where we had the college students there.
Absolutely.
And we had one of the, was it Montana State University? We had the one girl, we brought her up to the camera, and her mom was on the chat line, and we said, "Hey, you want to talk to your daughter?" And boom, they were just chatting away.
Well, that was really cool, because unlike the other live shows, we actually, the day before our broadcast, we ran live over the competition. So all the robots, as they were running through the competition, families back home, other students, anybody could go online and check it out and sort of follow their progress while we were chatting on Ustream, which was great.
Right.
So that really was a cool part of that show where it really came together.
Yeah, and it was a little controversy out there.
I was just going to bring that up, because I was like,
yeah, you had a couple of students kind of freelancing on their answers about, their rival schools. And when we talk about rivals, they're looking more at sports than engineering. But it was it Alabama?
In Auburn.
In Auburn, yeah.
Yeah, you set that up perfectly, didn't you?
Yeah, it's funny, the kid we were interviewing, the student, he's all talking about his robot, and then you throw out the rival school, and it's like we'll beat them, we'll destroy them.
Yeah, he's having problems right now because they're inferior.
Hey, you know a good place to go fix your glasses?
Auburn or Alabama?
Probably you'd call it a wardrobe malfunction.
Yeah, what are you going to do? So.
Oh man, one of my favorite shows that I really had a good time working on was D-Rats 2010. We were out in the desert for just about a week, and I had an opportunity to get out in the field and hang with the rover team A and B, and really got some good stuff out there with Barb and Joe. It was a really good time.
It was good to see you, hiking on the on the desert there.
Man, I am sucking wind, hiking out of this crater. It's a beast. You have to excuse me for sucking so much wind, but we're at 7,000 feet, and I'm out of shape. Well, it was only about 3 or 4 seconds.
We'll talk to Ryan about that.
No, it was just 3 or 4 seconds on.
No, I got you.
Show.
No, what was really cool though is we'd go back to the hotel and edit the footage, and it was great. We looked forward every day to seeing the stuff that you had done out in the field, because we had a lot of laughs, but at the same time it was really, really interesting to see how the day-to-day operations went out in the field with the team, because it wasn't just the guys in the rover, they had a vast support team.
Right.
So they're doing all this extra work and all this additional support. In fact, one of the guys I interviewed, Jose, the guy with the
laser gun.
I call it the blaster. I have to admit, it's my favorite interview. I actually got to meet him the day before, because he was riding out, and this just shows what kind of teammanship they have out there. He was on a lunch run the day before, so people get together, they go get meals to support the guys in the field and driving the truck out and just making sure everybody's has enough to drink, enough to eat, staying hydrated and energized. But that's where I actually got to talk to him about what he did with the I call it the blaster.
It kind of looks like a quarterback play sheet,
Yes.
just like,
It didn't flip up though, right?
It's made by Play School.
Yeah, this is the 2030 version,
Well, it's a workout version because it actually weighs like 50 pounds. It builds arm strength. Yeah. So it's a good cross purpose.
Well, don't forget the Sun Earth Day. I mean, that was our first live show that we tried.
We have our magnetosference expert and our solar glare expert, I might add.
I have solar hair color.
Oh, there we go. That's why we chose you, right?
Keeping it real. Did you say the sun's middle age?
Yeah.
Well, what happens if it goes through a midlife crisis? Not unlike I'm going through right now. No doubt they were inspired by my Space Weather Action Centers of a few years ago.
I'm sure they were.
Die, cruel star!
That's because magnetosference, my key word, is really gaining popularity and momentum among the scientific and educational communities.
Oh, okay. I'll tell the scientists that.
As I said, several of these spacecraft actually have to protect themselves to keep the germs away. It's a bit like a hand sanitizer. It is, yes.
She brings her own props, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, so for 2011, what we're going to do? I mean, we have, like I said, we have 16 podcasts we're going to work on. We know we're going to do some live shows. We're going to do some NEATs and full shows.
We need some goals. We need some personal goals. Ways we can improve ourselves. Like for me, I've got one.
All right, co-host, what do you want to do?
For 2011, I'm doing all my interviews sitting down. Because I've noticed that you can't tell how much taller the other person is when we're sitting down. So I figure instead of feeling inferior all the time, interviewing all these people that are over 5'4.5", sit them down, and then we're on equal playing field.
Okay.
So I'm doing all sit-down interviews this year.
Well, since you're talking about the way you look on camera, I'm going to shoot for losing at least 20 or 30 pounds.
Or changing lens.
No wide-angle lens. We just shoot long and keep it tight. How about
new concept, new show?
Okay.
NE International.
Ooh. I'm for that.
I'm all over that.
We got our space partners. We got JAXA. We have ESA, Russian Space Agency, Canadian Space Agency. They got to feel the love too.
I might have a little problem with my passport.
Well, I can give you tips on how to lose a passport.
I remember that.
Yeah, and how to contact the U.S. Embassy to get
Yes, but you know what? It works.
It does.
It works. Yeah. So
that's my goal. See if we can get an international trip.
Oh, that's a good goal.
Yeah. Let's see what happens. So maybe by that time you'll have lost the weight. And then we'll interview people who are at your level, so that way you can stand.
That's a good call. It'll be tough to ship my chairs internationally. I don't know if that'll work, but it's a good plan.
So we got a bunch of NE lives we're going to do. We got some NEAT segments we're going to cover, and we got some full shows. And
one of those NE lives in particular should be the last shuttle launch. Yes. Which should be a very significant show.
That would be huge.
One of the things I can remember when I was in grade school and sort of first shuttle launch.
Yeah.
And to be at this age, and now watching the last shuttle launch and to cover it for NASA Edge. I think that will be very cool.
Very special.
Yeah. And the only disappointment I have, I hate to bring out a negative, but there was one disappointment in 2010. I hope we can bring back Mission Madness.
Ah, that's true. That's true.
Maybe one day.
Maybe one day. And the real question is, will super pressure balloons upset the world yet again with their incredible voting strategy?
Yeah. Hey, you finished your food already?
Yeah, I was starving. I'm looking forward to 2011 because you got to get enough energy to get ready to go. So.
I'm looking forward to dessert.
All right, let's go ahead and outline 2011.
All right, let's do this. Oh, yeah.
Thanks, bud.